everybody, it's Femtrooper, and today the question is, am I a collector? This video is kind of inspired by Emily at Orbalology, so definitely check out her channel. She has tons of collecting tips, and I always used to think, I'm not a collector. But then I know a lot of people see what's behind me and they go, yeah, you are. And I've always been like, but I'm not, because I've always thought of collecting as something else. So today I just want to go over and discuss, am I a collector or what kind of collector I am? You may relate or feel the same as me. Before I get into anything though, make sure you subscribe to my channel, click like, and of course, tell me, what kind of collector are you? Are you a collector of video games? So right off the bat, I've always been like, I'm not a collector. I don't collect video games. And then I'm looking over here and I'm like, well, I kind of do. I kind of do. Because part of me thinks if I truly wasn't a collector, then I would just go all digital. Which, yes, you could argue that you could be a digital collector. You could collect, you can have collections anyway you want. You can have physical, you can have digital collections, of course. But if I truly didn't care about physical media, I would not own any of this. Why would it matter? Why would I have any of this? So I guess I am a collector. Lots of people who collect video games like to have full or complete collections. For them, it's like they don't care about necessarily playing the games. They just want that full NES collection or that full Wii U collection or whatever it is that they want. They're like, you know, I want to own every single Sega Saturn game. Okay, I've never been that way. I don't care about owning every single Switch game or every single, Super Nintendo game. Like that's not really my thing. And there's other types of series that people can do that with. Like they have to own every single, Zelda game or every single Tales of game. Whatever it is that it is for you. I've never really necessarily been like that either, although there are a couple series I love, which obviously I do enjoy owning physical media for it. So I love Dragon Quest. So obviously I want to own a Dragon Quest game. I want to own them. I love them so much. I love Pokemon. So I love to own various mainline Pokemon games. And I say that because there are some Pokemon mainline games that I really don't like, but I still refuse to trade them in or give them up because I just like owning them. So sounds kind of collecty to me. Something that Emily actually brought up, which I think is really cool, and I like the term, is selective collecting. And it's kind of like, you choose what you want, but you kind of are a collector. Just maybe everybody has their own version of what collecting is. And like I said, sometimes it's complete sets. Sometimes it's just to own a certain number of games. Sometimes it's just literally owning games, period. So yes, when I look at this behind me and I have a ton of games, up here, down here, I have tons of games. I do. Compared to other people, I don't maybe have a lot. There are people that I know that have over 1,000 Switch games. I don't. But then I know people that have a collection, or they consider it a collection, and it's like 10 games. So it really depends on your terms. And I also think that's really cool because you can be a collector however you want to be. And I am a selective collector. So let's get into what I mean when I say I'm a selective collector. I consider video games on my shelf trophies, which is kind of weird, but we'll get into that. Or sometimes just pieces of nostalgia that I can have and touch and hold. So a lot of the nostalgia is owning old games that I really like. So maybe that's a Super Nintendo game or that's a Nintendo 64 game. I like just having it because it really reminds me of my childhood. It makes me think of going to Blockbuster. It makes me think of going to stores where I could see these actual games on the shelf and buy them and rent them, and it makes me happy. So that's like a small part of it, but I do consider it kind of part of my collecting journey. I do like owning old games. However, I don't just like owning random old games, so I don't have a ton. Like, I literally do not own that many N64 games because I kind of don't care about it anymore. So yeah, maybe one day I could grab a few here and there, but it's never been a priority. I've never been like on the hunt. I don't go to garage sales to find old games. I don't, I'm not seeking out old games on eBay. That's just not really my jam. So I like to display video games, which kind of is a collector thing to do. I love doing that, but most of all, I love them as trophies. So let's talk about that, because video games to me are something I could show off and be like, ta-da, I beat it. Every time I beat a video game, it's a trophy and it goes on my shelf. Now, if I beat the game and I hate it and it was just awful and it wasn't very fun at all, then I don't really want it. It's not that I'm not proud that I beat it, but I just don't care. I don't care to own it. Why do I want it in my house? Why do I want it on my shelf if all I think about is, it was awful? So I don't really want it in that respect. I want just to look at games. I want to go through my collection, look at all these games, and, I want it to spark joy, if you will. I want it to evoke happiness because I like looking at them. And some people say, hey, you play a game, you're never going to play it again. Why do you keep it? But it's no different to me than a great novel. You're not necessarily going to read it over and over, or if you are, maybe you're only going to read it once. I don't know. It depends on how you do stuff. But yeah, it kind of is that way. It's like, yeah, I may not ever play this game again, but it gave me such a great experience that I want to keep it. I want to be able to hold it up. I want to show it to you guys. I want to be like, this game is great. I want to recommend it to people. And yeah, I do have a YouTube channel, so it is kind of fun to show games off and hold them up and be like, yeah, I beat this, or yeah, I recommend this. Or sometimes I show off games that I'm like, this is really bad. So that's part of it. Now, there is something really fun about holding a game and looking in there and there being like a manual or something to look at. Now, most of these new games don't have that. They don't come with anything. It's super frustrating. And yeah, it kind of bugs me, but I do enjoy that part of older games where you can look at the manuals. I mean, Earthbound came with the player's guide. My God, it's fantastic. So that's kind of part of it. And here's the other thing. I have an entire shelf just dedicated to Mother because I love Mother 2 and Mother 3. So yeah, I have a shelf dedicated to it because Mother 2 is my favorite game of all time. So yeah, I collect in that regard. I want to own it. I want to be able to be like, yeah, that's my favorite game. So that's part of my collecting journey. I am a huge, huge fan of physical media because no one can take it from me. No one can make this, not work or get deleted. Obviously, physical media can break down, can stop, there's all that stuff. But in general, I just feel like having the actual game, having the book, having the whatever, it's nice because it's mine and I can have it. I can give it to a friend to play. I can trade it in. I mean, hey, you buy a game digitally and you're like, that wasn't that good. I'd like to get... You can't trade it in. You can't be like, oh, I'll take it to my local game store and get some credit and buy something else. It's like, nope. So that's another reason why I like physical media, because I do that all the time at my local store. So yeah, I really do like physical media. And you know what? Part of my collecting journey is I like the look of it. I like coming in this room and seeing all these games because they all have memories. Some of them, it's a memory of being 6 years old. Some of it is a memory of being 30 years old. It doesn't matter. They just bring back great memories. I like to pick out games and be like, okay, what was I doing at that point in my life when I played that game? And some of them, it's like, oh, I just had my son when I played that game. Or, oh, I had just graduated university when I was playing that game. And then I think about what that's like and it brings me back to that time period. Or, oh, you know what? I got that game right when I graduated high school. And I remember being like 18 and being so excited about playing it and hooking it up. And that's partly a reason why, hey, I keep a lot of console boxes too. Like I have my, original PS3 box, and I've got my PS4 box and PS5 box and all that stuff, right? I don't even remember if I have my PS2 box. I might. I'm not sure. I'd have to look. Either way, I love owning all that stuff because it makes me think of the actual day I went to go buy that console. The day I went and bought my PS2. That was such a big deal. Oh my God. It was like a huge, deal. I saved up all by myself to buy it. I remember when I bought my PS3. I remember when I went and got, my Vita. I remember that day. Like, I remember all this stuff, and it's fun for me. But I'm also excited about the future and all the other things we're going to get. So, I like having this because it's like, this is my hobby. This is my passion. This is something I like. And so it's fun to have a physical way to show it off. So there you have it. That's kind of how I see myself as a collector. I don't buy games just to buy games. I know a lot of people do that because they just want to collect, and that's fine. For me, I buy to play, and then keep them if I love them and treasure them. So that's kind of what it is. To me, these are treasures, they're trophies, whatever you want to call them. I just love having physical media and looking back and being able to be like, yep, I love that game. So to me, it's more about checking off stuff and keeping them as trophies to be like, I beat that, it was great, and now I can share my experiences. What's collecting like for you? Are you a video game collector? Do you collect like me? Are you more of a selective collector? Or do you just buy stuff to buy stuff? Whatever you do, it's awesome because video games are great. I want to hear about it. And of course, as always, I'll see you guys in my next video.